Project Hail Mary is the newest book to movie adaptation. And this one is based on the book Project Hail Mary, written by Andy Weir, who also wrote The Martian. And it stars Ryan Gosling and is about a scientist named Ryland Grace who wakes up on his ship in space one day, doesn't really know what's going on, and throughout the course of the movie kind of finds out that he was sent on a mission to save Earth from these like little cell aliens that are like eating the sun basically. And there's one star that is surrounded by suns that have been corroded by these like alien things, but isn't dying out. So he was sent there to figure out what's happening. I read the book in January for the first time, and I thought it was really good. I've read The Martian before, and I really like that book. I love The Martian movie. It's one of my favorite movies ever. So I was really looking forward to this one, and it definitely lived up to the hype. It was a really, really, really good movie. I thought that the way that they adapted it was really good. There was stuff that was missing, and then there was stuff that was added. But just like The Martian, some of the stuff that's missing sucks that it's not in there. But at the same time, you kind of get why they did it. Some of the stuff that's missing isn't like the worst thing that could possibly be missing. Some of the stuff added doesn't ruin the movie at all. It's just like it's there. And then some of the other stuff that's added is like, that was a really good addition. I think that Ryan Gosling as Ryland Grace was fantastic. He has a lot of humor. He has a lot of emotional moments, and he plays a scientist, so he's got a lot of like science scenes, and he plays all of them really well. When he needs to be the scientist guy, you believe that he's a scientist guy who knows all this stuff. When he has to be emotional, you get that from him. And when he needs to be comedic, it's Ryan Gosling. Obviously, he's comedic. If you don't know how comedic he can be, it's a very short scene. Go watch the scene from the other guys where he screams. That's really funny. So if you need something like that, go watch that. But I think he plays everything in this really well. I think that the girl that they got to play Strat was really good. They took a much more human approach in this, whereas in the book, she's more so, she acts more like a robot, where you can still tell that she does care, but it's more, she doesn't act like she cares at all. It's just that you can pick up on it. And she's like a robot, like she'll do whatever needs to be done. And in the movie, she's much more human, and it feels a lot more like she just wants Earth saved, from like a place of care more than the book. Like, it's the same character, they both care about Earth and don't want it to die, but I feel like in the movie they made her a little bit more human than she was in the book, and I thought that was pretty cool. There was a scene where she sings, she like she does a karaoke thing, and I thought that was a pretty good scene, especially with like what it meant between her and Ryland. I don't know exactly what they were going for in this. There's two different relationships that you could see if you went either way. One of them is like a mother and son type like relationship, where it's like she kind of feels like a mother figure almost to him a little bit, and like at the end when he sends her back the stuff and she's like watching his videos, like it feels a little bit motherly. And then I've also heard some other people point out, and it is kind of like this as well, where if you don't take it that way, you can also take it where like there's like a little bit of like a romantic thing between her and Grace. Like there's a couple scenes where it does seem like if they wanted to, they could have gone that way. And I don't know which one I picked up on. I don't know which one I prefer, but I mean, either or, I guess. Not both, but either or. I think everyone else was pretty good. There wasn't really any other main like human characters. There was like a couple of them from the book that like the co-pilots. but they weren't like big parts. There was a new guy, Carl, who is like agent that was assigned with Grace, and him and Grace kind of formed like a friendship. He wasn't in the book, and I think he's a really good addition. He brought some humor. I liked the friendship that he and Grace developed. He wasn't like a big part in it, but I thought that he was pretty good. And that's about like the only main characters. And then the other big character in the movie is Rocky, the alien, who was spoiled in the trailers and by the posters, but in the book it did take a little while for him to appear. And in the movie it also takes a little while. It's about 40 to 50 minutes in, I think, before Rocky shows up, but it's a lot faster than it was in the book. Which I think this movie has great pacing. Like, the way they pace everything is really great. And I thought that Rocky was really good. I think that the guy that they got to voice him did really well. Where it was more so he was just voicing him as a computer program. So there wasn't like emotions or anything as much. But I thought that he did pretty good. And he brought a lot of humor. And I thought that was pretty good. And just the way the story ultimately plays out, obviously if you've read the book, you know how it ends, and seeing it in, like, reading it and seeing it are just great. Reading it has its own perks. Watching it also has its own perks. I think that, they both have stuff that is better than the other, and then obviously the other one has stuff that's better, so it equals out. Just like The Martian, where I think that, the movie and the book both have things that are greater than the other, and I guess worse than the other, but none of it sucks. It's just that, like, the book does this thing better, but then the movie does this thing, and then the book has this one other thing, and the movie has this. So it's like, it's always like that, where it's like, I don't know which one I like better. There's things I like about this one, there's things I like about that one, so it balances out to being like, they're both good. Which one am I gonna go to more? Just like The Martian, probably the movie, because it's shorter and it's easier to watch a movie than it is to read a book. I'm happy that this was like 2.5 hours, because even with 2.5 hours, there was still stuff that was left out that could have been included and everything. So I'm happy that they gave it a little bit of a longer runtime, so they could fit like a good chunk of the stuff in. And the way it wraps up, I thought was great. I thought that the so like the way it starts climaxing, they get the predators that they need to kill the astrophage, and so Rocky and Grace split up after they like celebrate, and Grace goes into Rocky's ship and kind of looks around, which wasn't in the book, and I thought it was a nice addition. And then you get the little flashback that kind of is like, he was a coward, he didn't want to go, and he was forced. But at the same time, like, it shows that, but at the same time throughout the movie, he didn't know what was going on. And he, like, he went straight head first into try and save Earth. So I think it shows that, like, deep down, he is a brave person who would do it. It's just that on the surface, he's a coward, and he needed a little bit of a push. But ultimately, he did end up doing the right thing. And, I mean, I guess what was he gonna do? Just let them all die. But, like, in the book, Strat is much more, like, non-caring about it. Whereas in the movie, it shows that it looks like it, like, hurts her to do it, and she doesn't want to do it, but she doesn't have a choice. Whereas in the book, she doesn't really have a choice, but it doesn't, like, feel like she cares as much. And I think that the movie probably did that a bit better. And then obviously it starts wrapping up. He gets the stuff sent to Earth and then has to go save Rocky because he found out that the I don't remember what it's called, but the predators of astrophage, like the organisms that kill the astrophage, found a way to adapt to the xenonite and got through that and ate the fuel. So Rocky's ship being made fully out of xenonite, he's basically dead in the water. So he goes to save Rocky and takes him to Arid, where he supposedly lives out a good rest of his life, if not the rest of his life, on Arid. They form him like a dome so he can live there, and it ends different than the book, where in the book he was there a couple of years and he was eating hamburgers that were made out of him. Like the Iridians found a way to clone him, and then he would eat those. So it's like a weird form of cannibalism, but in the movie it's not like years after. It's just a little bit after the movie takes place, and it doesn't have any of the Me Burger stuff. Rocky informs him that his ship's ready to go back to Earth, and he's like, I'll stay and think about it a little while. It shows Strat back on Earth, and it kind of is just like showing that Earth will probably survive. And I thought that was a nice addition, which it didn't have in the book, because the book's told all from Grace's perspective, I and that, instead of he and they and all that. So it's first person, so I like how they did that in the movie. And like it's just a really, really good movie that I think everyone can enjoy, and I would like to watch it again. I do not think it's better than The Martian, and even like I wouldn't have thought it anyway. I don't think it was possible to beat The Martian, because I think The Martian is just awesome, and this was awesome too, but I do like The Martian a bit more. I just think that everything in that works a little bit more for me, and this one was still great. I think that this was obviously like one of the best like pure space movies I've ever seen. It looked great. It had a great story, great cast, great humor, great emotions, and everything. Phil Lord and Chris Miller directed it, and they've directed this, the Lego Movie, the 21 and 22 Jump Street, and Cloudy Chance of Meatballs. This is probably their best movie. The only other one I can think of that might be better, I would just have to rewatch it again, is the Lego Movie. Like, those two are pretty good, and then the other ones are below it in an order that I think I know. I would do a ranking, but I don't know if I want to right now. But I did see that they are adapting the Artemis book that Andy Weir made into a movie. So maybe when that movie comes out, I'll do a ranking of their movies. Who knows? But so far, this is probably my favorite movie of theirs. The only other one that might be better is the Lego Movie. I just would have to watch both of them back to back, actually, just to figure out which one I like more. But if you haven't seen Project Hail Mary, I would definitely recommend going out and seeing it. It's definitely worth it. If you have, tell me what you thought in the comments about it. And I'll see you tomorrow, I'm hoping, for the first episode of Daredevil Born Again Season 2, which I'm really excited for. So I will see you then, if not Thursday. It's going to be one of those 2 days, I know that. But until then, I will see you, and if you've seen the movie, I really hope you do enjoy it.